Hi there guys, and welcome to my channel and my next video. This interesting looking thing that I'm working on at the moment is keeping me quite busy. Landscaping the corner of the garden. So I just thought I'd show you what I'm up to on a large scale. I'll go back inside now and we'll just discuss a model. And yeah, what we've got here is a scratch built model of the hover bus from Thunderbird's The Mighty Atom episode, I believe, where the Hood is trying to blow up a bunch of power stations, one in Australia, and that's why this happens to be from the Australian Coach Co. City Special. Now, this model is, this is a scratch built model for me, but the original still exists. It's not in great shape, but it's not in horrific shape. There's all the aerials and things missing off it, but it's still owned, and it's one of the few guest vehicles that I love that's survived till today. So I decided to do that subject as a scratch build. So this is getting quite old. It's a little rough around the edges. I'll just turn it around a little bit. When I first built this model, one thing you got to know when you build a scratch build from Gerry Anderson shows, especially, there are no plans ever, anywhere. Now, there is one person that I can recommend that does a lot of good plans online, which is Claire Collins, and those plans of various planes and vehicles and submarines, all that sort of stuff. I haven't seen a hover bus. Are very, very good and accurate. I've checked them over, and they are great, for a model maker who wants to sort of get an aerial view and a side view and everything. So well done, Claire Collins. This, however, I just basically did what I keep telling you in earlier episodes, that I just take lots of screenshots from the show. Sometimes you can just go online and get even better pictures of it, especially of the original studio model that survived. Some quite close-up pictures just to give you the ergonomic shapes that are around the front and all that sort of thing. But it doesn't give you all the detail that's broken off, because basically it's in good shape for a model that's from 1965-ish. But it's not in perfect condition, obviously. It's quite rough, but, hell, I'd love to have it. I especially love this type of vehicle. As a kid, it always reminded me of what the future would look like. I can't say I've ever seen a bus this cool. There's a few things that aren't necessarily right about it. The fact that it's a little rough around the edges, partly to do with age. But as I said, you've really got to go from screenshots and what have you to get side profiles and back profiles, and the actual studio model that survives are good for that, because I think there are photos online that actually show it like this, and side on and front on like this. When I first made this model, the embarrassing thing, and anyone that sort of says, "Oh, well, Alan, your models are great," when I first built this, I did templates and everything, and off the screen. As I say, you do a template out of tracing paper or whatever. Actually, literally, carefully sellotape it to a laptop screen or whatever that you can enlarge the model to the size you want, and then transfer it onto cardboard or whatever to create a template. Now, when I did this one, there were some good angles on there of the real model still existing. So although I went for the detail from images from the show, I downloaded as many as I can, snapshots, I relied on the actual existing model photos that that are currently owned by someone, to get all the accurate shape and some of the close detail. But the thing is, I stupidly made a mistake of making it too narrow, and it was noticeably too narrow. So what I did is I had to make this decision, and it was completely finished. Everything that you see was there. I had to literally cut it down the middle, all the way around the bottom, around the front, take some of the detail off, which made it a little bit rougher. And, even, like, I'll take the lid off. Now, the lid of these balsa wood, the lid of the studio model comes off similarly. I think it comes off a bit further back, but I decided I didn't need to replicate that. I just needed to get it off to get to these guys in here. But I think the studio model actually lifts off a bit bigger piece. And it's close to the studio scale one, but I haven't really contacted the person who owns it to say, well, what are the exact dimensions? So it's just guesswork, and it doesn't matter as long as the proportions look right. And I'd say for this one, they look close, not perfect, but close. And one of the things about this model is the interior. There's plenty of interior pictures. Now, these figures that I've got inside, probably not enough for them, but they pretty much emulate the studio model. Not the same. I'm not aiming to create the studio model as such, but I wanted to be able to get inside, and I realized by all the pictures of the studio model with the people on the roof laying on the floor, that hey, I want to do that, but I want it to fit in nice and tight, which is a hard thing to do. Now these guys are all slightly out of scale. They're a little bit larger than they should be. I mean, most of you regular fans and model makers will instantly have gone, oh, hang on, I'm looking at that, those figures are too big. Yeah, you're not wrong. Couldn't find ones the size I wanted, but I didn't want to make the model any bigger. It could have only been another inch or so bigger, and they would have been in scale. But it really doesn't worry me, because when I do models like this, I literally tell you about getting templates off a screen, and a certain size laptop screen is the way to go, because laptops, LCDs are very sharp and crisp, and right in your, ready to in your face, and you can get a pen and sellotape it on each end, and you can see the image, and you just draw all the outline of the bus and the windows, and as much as you can, but not everything. You just draw on the template what you can before your wrist breaks, because you're drawing on an angle and what have you, and then you can add the rest of the detail later just by eye. Things you haven't drawn on, like the aerials and this sort of stuff. You might draw the shape of where it is, but once you get to do this bit of detail, this here with the grill lines on it, you'll work that out later as you're building it. So that's something I probably didn't say when I said put a bit of tracing paper on a screen and get it to the size you want. You can draw as much detail as you like, but you end up having to, once you've built the model to a certain point, go, right, now it has, a little handrail here, or a door handle, or something like that, or these mirrors. You don't have to try and draw everything, just the shape that you intend to sculpt. And that's really important. And the other thing I probably didn't mention is there is a trick. So this goes back to when I was talking about scaling it up. Again, if you're going to get it a certain size on a side profile, then it'll actually give you a height when you, say, print it out on a piece of paper. So you get it to A4, whatever you can print it to, and you get a tape measure or whatever, and you measure from the top to the bottom, so that when you get the image on your screen of the front profile of the model, you zoom it in so that the height and to the top to the bottom is the same as that side profile, which isn't that easy. Sometimes you have to print out a few copies, but if you print out the side profile first on a piece of paper and use that as your template along with the tracing paper with all the detail, your front view has to be the same size. So that's a matter of taking the image that you downloaded and zooming it in so that it matches, and the rear for that matter. So what happens is when you print them out, which is a good idea, so I usually do print out a side profile, a front and a back, and a top if I can, is when you lay them by themselves, they have to match. You can't have the width of this being like that high sort of thing, and then the front piece profile being that high. They've got to be the same height, and that way you can sort of almost have a cardboard front, a cardboard side, and a cardboard rear, and it just gives you that starting point of how to start shaping it up. If the profiles of each size, again, this is really important, are different when you print them out or you put them up on your screen, you're not going to get that accurate front and what have you matching the side. So that's enough of raving about that. The model is very light. It's a very delicate model to do. Clear styrene windows with little bars going across there. Now they're just little pieces. I believe I used plastic rod, which you get from the model shop. Sorry, I think of my camera. I was looking more at the model. My camera's aiming at. This detail down here, which is sort of like footplate stuff, it's starting to wear out now, but it's just basically, you can buy metal tape from your hardware, a metallic tape, and or graphic sticker, but whatever is highly reflective, and that's what this seems to be, and they're different sizes, two big ones and two small ones at each end. And you just get a marker and a ruler and you start drawing crisscrosses on it to create that effect. Unless you want to do what I did in here, which is a actual piece of grill, which is very hard to get and cut. But you can get a lot of that sort of stuff from the model shops, even more today than you could have just a few years ago. Things like the aerials, they're not perfect. The mirrors are not real mirrors, but just painted silver. They were bright and shiny when I first made this model, but everything dulls down. And it's kind of cool because everyone goes, "Is that the studio model?" And it's like, well, actually, it's not that old, but it's starting to look like it already. So it's not bad to have a model that ages in the Anderson world, because people see them fresh on screen, but they know that if they're going to see a studio model that's left, and again, there's only about 5 of them of various things. There's this bus, there's a boat, a plane or something. There's stuff all, and some puppets, and they're worth a fortune. There's the crab locker support command vehicle, which was turned into an ambulance, which I did for another episode in Captain Scarlet. So they repurposed, and they do a lot of that. I'm surprised they didn't repurpose this bus, and that it ended up looking original, and it even had Australian Coach Co on the side of the studio model today. You wouldn't expect that sort of thing to survive. I don't know how long, 100 years, no, 70, whatever. When they start to get a little bit old and bang up, they actually start to look more like they should, and people start going, "Oh my God, is that the real thing?" So that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a compliment. So how do you begin to construct something like this? Well, you get your templates and what have you. This was one that, because of my abilities and skills as a professional model maker, I didn't really put a lot of effort into this, but I did want it to look good. But its biggest issues are the fact that the entire roof is supported by window framing, and the strongest part really is this back. These are quite delicate, and you can see that they have seam lines that I never really got to fill as well as I wanted to. But being a model maker and scratch builder, I can go over this and give it a overhaul anytime I like.